Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 31st of March. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
Gary, extraordinary times we live in. And I've got to tell you that viewers, after some feedback last week, a couple of people made some comments that we weren't socially distancing.
I'm not sure we quite got it right.
And we're socially distancing as much as we can, given the technology that goes into producing this. Any further apart and you wouldn't see us, so we've made the judgment call that we would sanitise and do as much as possible. In fact, before we went to view, I had those disinfectant sprays that we've seen from Wuhan. Yes. We actually Wuhaned Gary, so good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for Wuhaning me like that, Phil. I'm not sure we're far enough apart, and I'm not sure it would be so bad if we're out of the screen, just hear some voices and maybe just an arm popping in now and then. But it is a very interesting and different GPTV that we've got right now in this whole new world that we're in, Phil. Although we are here to bring joy and positivity to the world, Phil.
We are.
And in the interest of doing that, let's talk about what happened last week, because this centre that we're in, and we do record, by the way, from our centre in the corner of
Stanley Street, 198 Balaclava Road, Caulfield North, which is our new project development centre.
NRC centre, Philip, if I'm not mistaken.
New residential collections.
Correct. Now, this centre here that we record from, Philip, became the first place that we have ever conducted an in-room auction. Now, they do it in Sydney, and we've gone over to Sydney for years, and it's occasionally done here commercially, and we've said, no, we're not going to do in-room auctions. No, you won't find us doing that. And what happened last week, Philip, on Monday night?
So, viewers, after Dan Andrews perhaps shot the gun a bit too early, not that there's any criticism, in fact, I'd just like to say a personal shout-out. I think he has actually been quite premier-like during all of this. I think that he's led the state pretty well. But he did shoot the gun a little bit too quickly last Sunday, where he said, we'll be in lockdown on Tuesday. So leading real estate agents like ourselves jumped into action, where we decided, okay, if we can't auction the following weekend, which was last weekend, we will bring some auctions forward. So we brought 11 auctions forward last Monday and last Tuesday, where the great majority of them were held in this centre. And it was absolutely fascinating, because we did auction after auction after auction, and we half an hour interviews.
We only let a certain amount of people in, and we spaced them all apart. We did everything to comply, Philip, that we could have possibly done.
And we'll have some footage to show you as to how we did it. But we essentially just invited those people that were genuinely interested in having a bid, as opposed to those that were on the edge or on the fence saying, I might or I might not. So it was really by invitation only, and we really invited somewhere between 3 groups was our minimum, 7 groups was our maximum, and I think that just about every one of the invited people participated via bidding, Gary. It was absolutely fascinating.
Very interesting. It was something new, and we had 4 here, just to sort of wrap it up. We had 4 here. They all sold. They were all competitive. One was passed in, and we'll talk about some of the results in a minute, but one was passed in and negotiated to a sale. And then everybody was sprouting off everywhere else. So Lior did one in his office. We've never done that before, so he did one in his office. I did one in Rosalie Street on site, which was interesting as well. Everyone spaced apart on Monday night. And there was one that was done also on Monday. David Thompson did one in Westbury Street on Monday. Satin Street was also done on site, and we're running into Tuesday now as well. Of course, Tuesday, I think at 8:30, we've done one on Wattletree Road in the dark. Lior's done an auction with possums running around in the trees, yet still sold. So we've had 4 here, 3 on site on Monday, 3 on site on Tuesday, so there was 10 actually, Phil, all sold.
Not only did they all sell, Gary, but they all sold absolutely at our expectations or above. We had a couple of sales. I don't know, can we talk about Somerset Street in Elston?
Well, we can't say the price, but we can talk about maybe the over-reserve.
So that was sold, to the best of my recollection,
hundreds of thousands, I think it was over
the reserve. So not one of the properties that we sold through this interesting time has been sold at less than what we thought we would get for it.
Or under our range, Philip. Satin Street was sold for $1,380,000. I think Alfred Street passed in, sold for 1430, if I'm
That's
not
correct.
mistaken.
Yep.
Rosalie Street, you've probably got it there, Philip. You can have a quick look, but I think Rosalie Street sold for.
You just drag out the conversation a little
so
bit,
Rosalie
Gary.
Street, I did outside the
So
block.
we had
three
a
bidders,
quote
Philip.
range, Gary, of 480 to 520,
Yeah.
and it was sold for $538,000.
Yeah, that's right. It was a competitive auction with three bidders, Philip. Turner Avenue, that was a really popular one. Tell us a bit about that one.
That was incredible, Gary. Well, it was a single-storey villa.
How many bidders did we have for that? Philip?
We had 3 bidders, to
Yeah,
my
strong
recollection.
bidders. At least three
Sorry,
bidders.
I beg your pardon. The stats are showing 5
Yeah,
bidders
that's right.
on that.
I thought so, yeah.
We had a reserve of $1,050,000, which was really their wish price
Yeah, I
in
think
many
so,
ways,
yeah.
but sold for $1,221,000. So well and truly over the reserve
Way
price.
more than we'd expected for that.
I found, Gary, I don't know about you, but I found Monday fascinating because it was like a military operation because we had auctions on the half hour and we controlled the flow of people coming in and going out. So everybody was incredibly well socially distanced. Distanced. I don't know. I'm not sure. Socially
distanced.
The people were correctly exercising the right level of social distance.
Anyway, all I know is, Phil, we're running around, we're squirting this, we're getting the Glen 20. So I was like, you know, and someone said something the other day, which is interesting. Remember on the planes when you came back from overseas, they used to spray them?
They did.
If they had done that, would COVID be in Australia?
Well, Gary, there was a lot of questions asked.
But that's a good one.
There was a lot of questions asked on Monday night when you were walking around the place spraying Glen 20.
Right.
I would just like to shout out to the manufacturers of Glen. I'd like to shout out to the manufacturers of Glen 20. Does it work against the virus? Does it work against anything? I know that you're a big sprayer in your bathroom after you've been in there of your Glen 20, but
I'm not a big sprayer.
I'm not sure that I'm not going to make any comments about the product, but I would be interested in knowing if it kills anything, Gary.
Phil, I'm fascinated by, given your obsession with cleanliness. I'm fascinated by your questioning line here, Phil, because you're a guy who, if his tie hit a door going into a public toilet, that would be the last you see of the tie.
Well, Gary, you wouldn't see me walking into a public toilet.
No, that's true. I suppose you're right. Phil, Wattle Tree Road, that was a popular auction. What did it sell for? Just to give people a bit of an understanding of what's going on in the market.
Wattle Tree Road, as I go to my electronic communication here, and I'm looking for Wattle Tree Road. Are you talking about 15 at 240 Wattle Tree Road, Gary? It was on the market. We had a quote range of 520 to 570. You declared it on the market at 560,000, sold it for 610,000 with 3 people bidding for that.
Okay, that wasn't my auction. That was the one Lior did at night with the possums and the cats. I'm not sure if the cats were fighting or they were having a moments of excitement, Philip. I'm not sure about the different sounds, but all I know is that it was dark. There was things happening in the bushes. People were bidding and didn't want to look up to see what was happening. So very, very interesting.
Gary, I want to talk to you about social, the way society's operating at the moment. I think that these are fascinating times we live in, and hopefully,
life's never going to be the same.
Hopefully, when the sun rises on this crisis, we'll all come out of it better people.
Yes, indeed.
But I think it is bringing out the best of people. It's bringing out the worst in some people. We're seeing some of that too. We're seeing. Think about this, viewers. We manage a lot of property, so we have a lot of landlords, we have a lot of tenants, we have a lot of buyers, we have a lot of sellers, and then we interact with the general public in a major way. I think for us, we're probably in a position to be observers of this incredible social experiment. It is. And all I can say to those of you that are digging deep and looking out for your friends, your family, your neighbours, and doing the right thing, congratulations. To those of you that aren't,
keep doing it.
Perhaps you need to dig a little bit deeper, because I think one thing that will come out of this, Gary, is that people will observe those people that didn't perhaps show the level of respect to each other that we would all want and deserve.
Respect, empathy and compassion, Philip. I think they're the 3 things we need to do. It's the REC. Respect, empathy and compassion.
Absolutely.
I just made that up on the spot.
Sounds Gary, absolutely brilliant. This is the reason that people tune into this show, Gary, because not only is it a hard-hitting real estate show, but you are always ever reliable for bringing out some incredible... what's the thing that I'm... Oh, you're a Scrabble player, Gary, so it comes as no surprise.
Words with friends. Phil, let's get into the weekend's auctions, because if we review the weekend's auctions, it's a very short discussion because there were no auctions. So let's talk about what's happening with the weekend auctions upcoming. I mean, we did have auctions auctions planned for the weekend. We did attend those properties and take people through at the auction time privately by appointment. It wasn't a public situation.
One-on-one inspections.
One-on-one. And a number of those properties got sold as well, which is worth noting, and I'm not sure we could probably review some of those.
So the properties that we didn't sell, Gary, what we did, viewers, is that we've projected a new auction date for those.
Yes, we did.
And it's really pretty much while we are in a position to continue to show people through homes, we are making appointments, we are showing people through on an individual basis. We're asking them to sanitise before they go in, and we're asking them, quite important, very important, not to touch anything while they're in the house.
Absolutely. Philip, we sold Grosby, great mate, sold just before auction at $325,000, $1,000, Philip, for one-bedroom apartment in Murrumbina. Also Mimosa Road, $740,000 sold before auction. There's some of the disclosed figures, and the properties are coming up behind us. 45 Armand Street was sold before auction, Philip. Lamore, well done to her, and Nikki Janova sold that one for $1,765,000. So there's some of the things that did sell on the weekend. Sales are still happening. In fact, it was a very busy week in sales. Believe it or not, in all of the chaotic madness and uncertainty, people are still buying and selling real estate.
Viewers, we're getting all geared up for online auctions.
Yeah.
We have been experimenting with Zoom. Zoom seems to be probably at the moment the preferred platform. We've had a lot of success with that. It was interesting yesterday morning, viewers. We held a sales meeting at 9:15 where we zoomed in, where we had 38 of our sales people all online at the same time. And I've got to tell you, I thought it was very effective. We were able to get all of our messages across. We were able to have interaction with all of our team. So to a degree, whilst I would say that it's business as usual, it's hardly business as usual. But on the other side of the coin, it is business as usual from the point of view that if you go online and you see a property that you're interested in having a look at, by the time you've looked at it online, you've explored all of the options online, you've then had a conversation with one of our sales team. If you then want to inspect the property, we are doing business. We are making sales. Obviously, it's not as efficient, perhaps, as it normally is, but ultimately we are in the position. Anything that you see online, make an appointment. We will show you through individually, and we will sell that property to you if that's the property that you want to buy. I see you've just sanitised again, Gary. Please step just a little bit back, but be careful not to go past that little bit there. Bring your hand sanitizer there so that we can...
That's the zone?
That's the zone, right? Now, I think the funniest thing that I've seen with hand sanitising at the moment is that Louis Vuitton, I think it's the LMVH group or something around that, they've gone into hand sanitizer production. Now you'd wonder, so a bottle of hand sanitizer by Aquium, who's made by Ego, I think that was about $15. A bottle of Louis Vuitton,
$380.
Can you imagine? I mean, I think that's wouldn't that be the ultimate statement at the moment in I'm rich and you're not. I'll bring out my ego and you'll bring out your Louis Vuitton hand sanitizer for $380.
And that's how people are going to be making themselves aware and others aware of their status in the world. Is that right?
Just be careful because they have a very big legal department, Gary, and we just want to make sure that we're just stating facts.
Exactly right.
And by the way, just to get the facts right, we don't know whether that bottle is $380. Just a little bit of flippancy there.
If anything, you could be cynical about, as you are being currently, as we do on this show. But then on the other hand, Philip, they're doing something valuable to the community that the community needs. So if they're commercially reasonable, let's presume they are. Let's face it, you're not buying a lot of luggage now, right?
They may well be giving it away too, Gary. In fact, that's probably what they are doing to anybody that buys a briefcase for $12,000. We're going to give you a bottle of hand sanitizer.
Or buy the hand sanitizer for $12,000. We'll get this luggage set for free. Hey, one of the things people said to me the other day about Zoom meetings, and the next sales meeting we have a Zoom, you should get everyone to stand up.
Yes. Well, the truth yesterday, truthfully. Were you wearing pants?
Yes, I was, Philip. I was wearing pants. Underpants, you mean?
Yeah.
Only.
Yeah, you've been very good recently wearing underpants.
I've been good like that, Phil. Let's talk about some of the properties we've got. Phil, I want to review a property that's a hot property, just come on the market in Beddoe Avenue, and talk a bit about this property, Phil, because it's only just started, but there's been a lot of interest in it. We're talking about...
I just understood why socially distancing is important, because when you just bespoke them, a little bit of spittle.
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
A little bit of spittle went there.
Really?
So now I've just seen in real time why social, it's not something that you do on a regular basis, but I'm wondering whether the tech people could slow that down
and get it coming out.
Say, like that.
You know, firstly, I don't believe you. It's ridiculous. And thirdly, the whole concept is that go get some spray, because apparently it's when you put your hands on your face, that's when it happens. That's when it's transmitted. That's the whole concept of the social distancing, apparently. But there's so many stories you don't know. Do you, Philip? You don't know what's going on, do you? But that's the concept is, so go have a look.
Use your own hand sanitizer and don't touch your face.
Oh boy. Anyway, Beddoe Avenue, Philip, let's talk about this property because you're aware of it. It's a beautiful home in East Brighton. But a lot of interest in that low twos already. And it looks like it might either go to virtual auction or maybe sold in the next few days, which is why I want to push it up quickly, Philip, and let people know about it. You've done the video tour, you did a good job. And come along and have a look at this property. By private appointment, of course, like everything. Now, this weekend we have a whole lot of auctions coming up. Well, they're auctions, apparently, but they're not really auctioned. They are properties coming up. We should review them as we normally would.
Well, before we do, I want to just make one point, Gary, because a lot of people are saying,
hang on, are they going to be virtual auctions?
They may well be.
Stay tuned.
Look, it's an unfolding story, and we'll give you plenty of notice. But everybody's asking me at the moment, what's going to happen with the property market? We had one viewer say, the property market's going to collapse.
It's going to be
the sky is falling in. Interestingly, we deal with a lot of second, third and fourth home buyers.
Yes, we do.
And we're privy to a lot of the financial information behind these transactions.
Yes.
And there's a thing viewers called a Section 27 statement. And this is possible. I think this is interesting. A Section 27 statement is handed over from the seller to the buyer declaring the level of mortgage they have on the property. And the reason that the Section 27 exists is because the money that you pay in terms of a deposit, the 10% deposit that the buyer gives the seller, is held in our trust account.
Or the solicitor's
trust account, and not released often until settlement date.
28 days
a Section 27 facilitates the earlier release of the deposit. And on that must be declared the amount of the mortgage that exists on the
It's a private document, Philip, just between the seller and buyer. It's not on display yet.
But we see those, of course, because we have to get them signed. And the number of Section 27s that we see where there is no mortgage against the property. So a lot of people have been saying, the market will collapse. And I say, well, actually, there are so many people, and we'll come back to your viewers on the percentage of homeowners in Australia without a mortgage, because apparently it's an incredibly high number. So what will happen, I think, over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, Gary, is that a lot of new properties won't come to the market. So we'll see the volume in the market drop dramatically. And I think that alone is going to hold the market together, because there's this strong demand, as we've seen last week at our in-house auctions. And obviously, if the volume drops and the buyer volume also drops, I think we're going to see this equilibrium on current pricing.
Well, that's what we've seen in the last few years, and even if you take that sort of lull in 2018, half of 2019, when property prices came back, they did come back in price, but the reality was there was so little to buy. So there were people sort of rubbing their hands together saying, I can get myself a great buy. But there was no quality homes on the market and very few to buy anyway. So that's what happens in the fortunately affluent areas that we operate in, is that people just pull their heads in, they don't sell it all, they wait till it recovers, and then you've got to pay the back into the premium prices.
Shout out to the 6 producers that are responsible for putting this show together. If you wouldn't mind getting your teams of researchers to come back to us with the stat of the number of people in Australia that own a home that don't have a mortgage.
Yeah, if we can get that information, it would be handy. Philip, we have these 9 properties, I think it is, or thereabouts, that are due to go to auction, a little bit more than that, so due to go to auction this weekend. Now, we will let you know, and just stay tuned to our website and to our broadcast, because we will let you know by SMS, email, WhatsApp, and by what we put on the internet and the boards what's going to happen with these, but at this stage they're all scheduled to auction, either virtual auction, and sale before or sale on the day for private appointment.
Or some of them may be withdrawn, Gary, so just stay tuned, viewers. If you're seeing a property that you're interested in, you can always ring one of the salespeople that is responsible for looking after the property.
But hey, we've got some great homes, Philip. We should talk a little bit about them. We've talked about Beddoe Avenue. Let's talk about what's going on this weekend, due to be offered for sale. We start off on Saturday, Philip, with George Street, Bentley East.
Gary, what a fantastic home. 4 to 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, plenty of off-street car parking, fabulous kitchen, polished timber floorboards throughout. That's a really good home that you can move straight into.
Charnwood Road, Philip, otherwise scheduled again for this weekend.
Well, Gary, if you're into art, and I'm into art, and you're into art, 15 to 17 Charnwood. Even if you're not interested in buying a property, click on this property online and have a look at some of the incredible artistic imagery in this apartment. It is a standout.
Is it wrong to not be into art? What if you're not into art? I'm not really into art. I'm into photography, and my daughter's a beautiful photographer.
Photography is art.
Is it art, I suppose?
Yeah. Okay. Some would say horse racing is an art.
Yes, losing on the horses, that's an art that I've perfected, Philip, I can tell you that much. Phil, Tattenham Street, again, another property due to be auctioned on Saturday, of course being sold in some other method, but how about this one?
1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 1 car space. Check out the kitchen, check out the courtyard. We love these little 1 bedroom apartments with courtyard gardens. Great living opportunities, great investment opportunities.
Philip, we have a couple of properties that were due again for auction and may well be sold by virtual auction this Sunday. Sebastopol Street.
Gary, love Sebastopol Street, just off Kooyong Road. There's 2 Sebastopols, one in St Kilda East, one in Caulfield North. This is Caulfield North, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 car space. A really good property. Check out the renovations in that.
We both lived in the next street, didn't we,
Philip?
We did, Gary. Across the road from each other.
Well, you lived in Crimea Street. I lived on the corner of Crimea Street and Raglan Street.
We did indeed. Philip, Willow Street, well, that...
A little bit further here.
Good idea. Philip, Willow Street, that was over my back fence in all the years I lived in Gordon Street, Ostwick, again, the next street from me. Good-looking home in Willow Street.
I love Willow Street, Gary. It runs into the Ripponlea Gardens, and one day I held an auction, as you will remember, where I talked about how we used to jump over the fence when we were at your place, because your place backed onto Ripponlea, and we used to roam the gardens of Ripponlea. That was at a public auction. The very next day, we got a letter from the manager of Ripponlea saying, that's outrageous that you should say such a thing. And if you ever say that, take it on notice that we'll commence legal proceedings against you.
We were very worried about it, took it very seriously. That's why we mentioned it again a few years later. We just keep going. We won't go away, will we? That's true. But anyway, Philip, that's a great looking home. Needs a lot of work done.
It does.
But certainly a fantastic
opportunity. And what a great opportunity for your own renovations. It's a blank canvas, Gary, blank canvas.
Create your own block experience in Willow Street, Ostwick, because Regent Street, where the block was, just a few streets up from there. Philip, Younger Avenue. Well, you ain't getting any younger, Phil, but this is a great property.
Gary, it is a great property, but stay tuned, viewers. I believe that one has been sold. So stay tuned, but great development down there. That was a development by a family that does a lot of development, and what a great job they do.
They do, indeed, Philip. Phil, we move on. You may not be any younger, but you certainly are bent. And we move on to number 14 Bent Street. Phil, take us through this great looking home.
Gary, champagne comedy at its finest with you. That's what makes it a pleasure to be your partner. 4 or 5 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. That's a great family home. Turn the key on settlement day, move your furniture in, just get set with life, because there's nothing to do, not a cent to spend. And that one also comes with a sauna. So, spice things up at home with a sauna.
That's right. No better place to be in isolation than in your own home sauna, Philip, in my opinion anyway. Not that I've got one.
Well, they say that heat kills the virus, Gary, so maybe we should all be sitting... I wonder whether, the home of sauna is Finland.
Yes,
it'd be interesting to see how Finland's going with the virus.
I've been watching the country by country, description and seeing, and Australia's actually faring quite well.
We're starting to flatten that curve, Gary.
We're starting to flatten it out, and there's some places like New Zealand that have really done it well, it looks like, in terms of what they're reporting anyway.
Do you know what, Gary? If you stay home and look after yourself and do some exercise and eat a healthy diet, you may well flatten your curve too.
Very good, Phil. I'll have to remember that, hoping I can do so. Okay, let's move on to 19 Bamborough Road, Phil, in
Best
Caulfield.
joke so far.
You think so? Okay, Champagne Comedy. You're going to milk your own applause. That's fantastic.
Bamborough Road on the corner of Snowden Avenue. We love that.
No, this is not the sort of. This is number 19 Bamborough Road. Philip, get with the program, mate. I know. Get over your own joke that you think so clever.
And this is 139 Bamborough Road, Gary.
If
you were to look at that properly, so we'll go back to that on the corner of Snowden Avenue.
Of course it is, Phil. Just testing that you're paying attention.
The virus has kicked in with you, clearly, Gary. 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, a double carport, great location, corner Snowden Avenue, walking distance to the tram in Glen Huntly Road and Hawthorne Road.
Grange Road, Philip, great looking property here in Ormond.
It is, Gary.
Jack Slater's been involved.
2 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, secure car space. That's essentially almost brand new.
1 at 26 Narrong Road, Phil, if that isn't sold yet.
Well, Gary, I think it probably will be, but viewers, if it's not, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms and plenty of outdoor area and a double lock-up garage.
You don't get much opportunity in the Golden Mile to ever see a beautiful home for sale, Philip, but there's one here at 18 Lumia Road.
Well, Gary, a lot of our viewers would go number 18. What a lucky address and what a beautiful home. This was architect designed by architects Fredman Molina, who did an amazing job with this home. I've been in this house a number of times and I reckon it's got one of the best floor plans you're ever likely to see. Fashions come and go, colours come and go, but good floor plans never go out of style, and that one has a perfect floor plan. Come to our properties, have a look through, sanitise before you go in, don't touch anything when you're in the home, and when you leave, make sure you sanitise yourself again. Just be healthy, all. Follow the rules and regulations. Listen out to what Dan Andrews has got to say, what Scott Morrison's got to say. We will get through this time if we all are respectful of each other.
Indeed, and we're all in this together, Philip, and that is for sure. And we are looking forward to bringing the real estate news continually to you, no matter what's going on in the world. You know you're going to get it here every Tuesday afternoon on GPTV.
Ever reliable. Thanks for watching. My name's Philip Kingston. Have a great week.
I'm Gary Peer. Keep safe and well. We'll see you next week.